These are a list of some celebrities who have health issues. Selma Blair was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, MS. The actress first shared her diagnosis on Instagram in October of 2018. MS, a condition that affects the brain and the central nervous system. She had noticed symptoms for quite some time before. However, she had chalked it up to a pinched nerve. She now walks with a cane and continues to be candid about her chronic illness, the ups and the downs, on social media. Wendy Williams, Graves' disease, which makes her suffer from brain fog. What she thought was menopause turned out to be a form of hyperthyroidism called irregular periods, eye twitching, and more symptoms. Gabrielle Union was diagnosed with adenomyosis, a chronic illness that causes the endometrial tissue to grow into the uterine wall. In addition to heavy periods and pelvic pain, adenomyosis is oftentimes linked to infertility issues. Gabrielle is very open about her diagnosis on the Dr. Oz show. She admits that she has lost count of how many pregnancies she has miscarried. Back in 2018, she thought the number of miscarriages were 8 or 9. Gabrielle is talking publicly about her diagnosis. She has also written a book to help others who are suffering in silence and is talking publicly about undergoing IVF. Nick Jonas has been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. He said he was diagnosed with the disease when he was 13 years old, at the start of his music career. Lady Gaga was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. It causes widespread muscle pain along with fatigue and issues with sleep and memory. She continues to spread awareness about this chronic health condition. Lil Wayne has been diagnosed with epilepsy. In March of 2013, he revealed he had this condition. Epilepsy is a neurological disorder characterized by seizures. Lil Wayne said he has had a bunch of seizures, but it was not made public, he told Power 106. Kim Kardashian was diagnosed with psoriasis. It's an autoimmune skin condition. She says she's had it for years. Venus Williams was diagnosed with Sjogren's syndrome. It's an autoimmune disease. She told the New York Times back in 2011 that some mornings she really feels sick, like if she have the flu, that type of sickness. Winnie Harlow, who is a model, has been diagnosed with vitiligo. Vitiligo occurs when pigment-producing cells die or stop functioning. Anthony Anderson was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in 2001. In 2017, he told Parade, it's about taking it serious, taking this disease serious, and doing whatever it takes to manage the disease and to be diligent in just making healthier food choices. Shania Twain was diagnosed with Lyme disease. Back in 2017, she told people that she was very concerned on whether or not she can even sing again. Lyme disease is a tick-borne illness. It's carried by deer ticks. Halle Berry was diagnosed with diabetes at the age of 19. She told Los Angeles Times back in August of 2015 that she has learned how to manage the disease. She says it's a lifestyle change and not a diet. Diabetes occurs when the pancreas can no longer produce enough insulin to break down the sugar in your blood. Missy Elliott was diagnosed with Graves' disease. She told people back in January 2011 that she learned to live with it. Graves is an autoimmune condition that attacks the thyroid glands, causing hyperthyroidism, which is an overactive thyroid. Nick Cannon was diagnosed with lupus. Lupus is an autoimmune disease that causes your immune system to attack your own organs and tissues. Nick Cannon said to ET, April of 2018, "Lupus doesn't have me. I'm going to do everything in my power to maintain my physical, mental, and spiritual health." Morgan Freeman was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. He said to Esquire in July of 2012, "Up and down the arm, it gets real bad, excruciating pain." Zoe Saldana was diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease. She told Porter magazine in July of 2016, "I had a great time in my 20s, and then your doctor says to you, you're losing calcium in your bones." She said all of a sudden it hits you. You go from night to day with this disease.
According to Johns Hopkins Medicine, it is an autoimmune disease. It occurs when your body makes antibodies that attack the cells in your thyroid. The thyroid then can't make enough of the thyroid hormone. Many people with this problem have an underactive thyroid gland.
Wendy Williams have been diagnosed with Graves' disease. She said back in February of 2018 she thought she had the early onset of menopause, but it turned out to be hyperthyroidism, which is called Graves' disease, which makes her suffer from brain fog, irregular periods, eye twitching, and more.
According to Mount Sinai, Graves' disease is an autoimmune disorder that involves overactivity of the thyroid, hyperthyroidism. Hallmarks of the condition are bulging eyes, exophthalmos, heat intolerance, increased energy, difficulty sleeping, diarrhea, and anxiety.
Michael J. Fox was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. It's a disease that impacts nerve cells in the brain and affects muscle function and speech. He told Fox News and CBS that it took 7 years from the time of the diagnosis to the time that he came out publicly and said he had Parkinson's disease.
According to Mayo Clinic, currently there isn't a specific test to diagnose Parkinson's disease. A diagnosis is made by a doctor trained in nervous system conditions, known as a neurologist. A diagnosis of Parkinson's is based on your medical history, a review of your symptoms, and a neurological and physical exam.
Pink was diagnosed with asthma. She told Women's Health in December 2009 that performing and running up those stairs up and down, she have to stay on the treadmill while singing in order to build up that stamina in order to get her lungs right. George Clooney was diagnosed with chronic pain. He told a Hollywood Reporter in February 2012. He said it was an accident that led to his chronic pain and that he was going to beat this in a different way, psychologically. He said he has accepted the fact that he will never feel the way he used to feel ever again, pain-free. Elizabeth Hasselbeck was diagnosed with celiac disease. She's a former host of The View, co-host of The View. Celiac disease makes you intolerant to gluten, a protein found in grains, including wheat, barley, and rye. Jack Osborne was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. He says depression is one of the conditions that affects you when you have MS. Sometimes it comes out of nowhere and just kick me in the behind, he told Health magazine in August of 2017. Tom Hanks was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. He said he went to his doctor, and the doctor said to him, "You know those high numbers, those blood sugar numbers that you've been dealing with since you were 36? Well, you've got type 2 diabetes." Hanks told David Letterman back in October of 2013. Melanie Griffith has been diagnosed with epilepsy. She said she was overseas when she had epileptic attack, and she was taken to the hospital. When she came back to the U.S., she went to see a doctor, and she was diagnosed with epilepsy.
According to Nationwide Children's Hospital, there are many possible causes of epilepsy, including an imbalance of nerve signaling chemicals called neurotransmitters, tumors, strokes, and brain damage from illness or injury, or some combination of these. In the majority of cases, there may be no detectable cause for epilepsy.
Mariah Carey was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. She told people back in April of 2018 that until recently she was in fear of someone exposing her and she lived in isolation. She said she sought treatment because she could not live like that anymore. And she got the help that she needed. So now she's back to writing songs, making music, and singing. Exactly what she loves doing. Michelle Williams was diagnosed with depression. She opened up about it on Mental Health Awareness Day in 2018, and she was also on her Instagram page sharing how she sought treatment with her fans and is doing a lot better for her mental health struggles and advocate for others to do the same. Demi Lovato was diagnosed with bipolar disorder at the age of 22 after suffering for years with addiction and an eating disorder. Since she has received treatment, she is spreading awareness of mental illness in order to end the stigma that's attached to it. It is possible to live well, feel well, and find happiness with bipolar disorder, she says, to Women's Health magazine during her interview. Michael Phelps, the Olympic swimmer, was diagnosed with depression. He revealed that after the Olympic Games, he would fall into a deep depression and even contemplated on unaliving himself. He said it started around 2004, around the time that he was photographed with drug paraphernalia and was arrested for driving under the influence. He said he was just trying to self medicate, basically trying to fix whatever it was that was wrong. Phelps made this statement during the fourth annual conference of the Kennedy Forum. Through the Michael Phelps Foundation, he is raising awareness. He now works to provide children with stress management programs. He believes the suicide rate is going up because people are afraid to talk about it. Ariana Grande was diagnosed with PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder, in an emotional speech at the 2018 Billboard Music Awards. Ariana Grande opened up about how she deals with PTSD after the Manchester terrorist attacks. Tia Mowry was diagnosed with endometriosis in her late 20s after years of struggling with pain, but being misdiagnosed by her doctor. She said, after a while, you suffer in silence because no one knows what you're going through, especially if you don't know anyone who is going through it. She wrote in an article for Women's Health. Endometriosis is a disorder in which a tissue similar to the tissue that lines the uterus grows outside of the uterus in places where it doesn't belong. Catherine Cedar-Jones was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. She has a specific type. It's the bipolar 2 disorder, which is classified by longer low periods, which can be triggered by stress. And hers came to head when her husband, Michael Douglas, was battling stage 4 throat cancer back in 2011. She checked into a mental institution and sought treatment for a brief stay. Her publicist, C.C. York, said in a statement, if you or anyone you know is suffering from any type of ailment, whether mental or physical, seek help. Help is out there for you. I'm over and out. Before you leave the page, kindly hit that thumbs up bell and subscribe if you haven't done so as yet. I'll see you all on the next one. Thank you for watching.